Hello and welcome back to the Casual Hour, a podcast ostensibly about video games, but mostly about diner food. I'm Bobby Pease. Joining me as always, the gamer on the go, Chase Kinnicky, and Johnny. How are you both
Thank you.
doing?
That was the nicest intro you've ever on the show.
You got me thinking about diner food.
Let's talk about it.
I went to
All right.
Chuckaburger tonight. That's diner. You ever been there?
Yeah, Chuckaburger's real good. They got real good crinkle cut fries. It's hard for me, like I know diners like a Greasy Spoon, and you went there for a burger. I just always
I
go.
got the Philly cheesesteak.
I go. It's cool.
It was good.
Great.
It's breakfast, though, right?
Yeah, it's
if
breakfast.
You're going to a diner, you get breakfast.
You're getting breakfast food.
Yeah, you're getting a slinger. You're getting maybe some pancakes.
Or in your case, you're gonna get some Johnny cakes.
I get it. Some nice runny eggs. You know, the best way to have
Damn
eggs.
it, we're not having that debate again. I
dip your bacon in it. Your toast. Sop up that egg yolk.
Let it just melt into those hash browns.
I love the diner.
Some hot sauce on top.
I actually was a short order cook at a diner.
You're a tall order cook.
You're damn it, Chase.
He's a
It was fun. It was an interesting. I worked on Sunday mornings at a diner, so we got a big rush, of course. But I love just like I would get off my shift. I'd make my breakfast. I'd go sit at the bar, and at the time I smoked, and you could smoke indoors. I'd finish my meal, have that cigarette.
Good old days.
The good old days.
When people were free.
When people were free. You thought
you're
wearing a
allowed
mask is
to
difficult.
blow your secondhand smoke in other people's
Try
faces.
being able to smoke in a restaurant. No. But no, I love I'm pretty traditional. I like some potatoes, I like my eggs, some bacon, and I like a small short stack pancakes on the side. I would do something from the griddle, pancake, waffle, a piece or two of French toast, but I like to have all my savory up front and then I end on one of those.
See, I'm all savory.
Okay.
That sweet stuff, like I have to be in a mood for sweet stuff, and then it's just sweet stuff. But
okay.
I am mostly like, give me the bacon, give me the sausage links, give me the hash browns and the eggs. Put a bunch of hot sauce and black pepper over the top of that shit, and I'll just eat it all day long.
And if I don't go that route, like the only alternative I do, like I'll do either there's two, biscuits and gravy or a breakfast burrito. Like that's kind of the lanes I operate in when it comes to
breakfast burrito.
God, a breakfast burrito is so fucking good, man.
You guys pancakes or waffles? What are we?
I like pancakes.
It depends on my mood. It's usually pancakes.
Pancakes.
Because I do love a good waffle though.
I'll take a biscuit above toast.
The butter melts, the syrup gets in those little reservoirs.
Yeah, exactly. It's got spots for the syrup just to collect.
If you make your pancake the right way, you don't have to worry about that.
No, but then they just you get a pancake and you put the syrup on it, and then it just kind of expands and
there's a method.
Blows out.
There's a method.
Terrible.
You stack your pancakes up. You take your knife, and about an inch in from the edge of your pancake, you make a line to the other inch, and then you make an intersection where you cross over that. Same thing. You've got this cut all the way down to the plate. And you take your fork in one hand and you take the syrup in the other. And you open that little gap and you fill that gap up with your syrup. It's so good.
I go with you on that. I don't know. They balloon up.
I don't discriminate against my breakfast foods.
Not
I love
flat
them all.
anymore. I'm not saying I don't like pancakes. I'll eat a pancake. I'll eat 5 pancakes.
Bacon
I make
and sausage.
a damn good pancake. If I can brag on myself for a minute, I make some good fucking pancakes.
Waffles are the superior.
I didn't hear anybody ask if you
I
can
make
get
good
pancakes. Bacon or sausage?
Bacon.
See, I like chewy bacon,
Same.
And most places don't do that, so I'm always safe getting sausage links or patties. So I usually go that way, but if somebody makes a good chewy piece of bacon, I'm for it.
You know, and I would even go bacon before sausage. I would go bacon, and then I would do like just a big old fucking slab of ham, like fried ham.
I also would do like a breakfast steak. The breakfast steak and eggs, like I'll get all over that. Like those thin, shitty steaks that are just perfect.
Yep. God.
This is just making me so hungry.
What do we do? Let's just end this. I can't even have it.
McDonald's needs to bring back the steak, egg, and cheese bagel. It still is the best thing they've ever made.
Sausage McGriddle, best sandwich they have.
Yep.
That's that sweet and savory putting them together. I can't do it.
Oh, it's so good.
It's the best. It's the best.
I would fuck heavily with a sausage McGriddle right now.
Would you fuck heavily?
Excuse me?
What did you just say you would do?
If that wasn't so vulgar, that would be the podcast title.
I said I would fuck heavily with a sausage McGriddle right now.
I thought you said I would fuck heavily for sausage McGriddle.
I mean,
it doesn't matter what he said. They're
you do what you got to do, man.
All bad.
All right. As much as we like to fantasize about fucking and sausage McGriddles,
we're not three boys from the Midwest at all, are we?
Not at all. Not in the slightest. Really quick. Where we fall with grits?
I like them with shrimp.
Fair. So you like if I get grits with my meal, like I'll usually do butter and sugar in my grits.
Yeah, it needs to have some cheese or something else added to it.
Fair.
But shrimp and grits is legitimately one of my favorite dishes.
Okay.
I love it.
Nice.
Grits just take up room that hash browns or oatmeal could take up.
That's fair. Oh my god, we gotta stop. I'm getting so hungry. So outside of having like a deep appreciation for breakfast food, we also have a deep appreciation for video games. And tonight we have a traditional episode of the Casual Hour. If you're new, welcome. Our episode
buffet.
Keeping it cash classic.
We are going to be talking about the games that we've been playing. Chase was off last week. No, not last week. Chase was not here for Casual Mondays. Sorry. He's back with us. He's been playing some games on the go, which is what he does best.
Johnny wasn't here last week.
Johnny wasn't here last week.
Was not here.
Yeah.
Patrick's
Nobody
not
said
here
anything nice about him.
Not a single thing.
No.
And I've put some things in order to make sure that doesn't happen again. But tonight we're going to tell you about the games that we've been playing.
Steep cost. It's a steep cost.
I'll teach you, motherfuckers. Don't make me do something I don't want to do. I will raise the price every time. You thought it was 10,000 points? It's now 20,000, and I'll make it 30. So
just try him. He'll do it.
I'll do it. Make me have a good time. So we got quite a few games to get through, and we're going to come back in with the casual report, tell you a little bit about the news that's been happening over the last week. But let's just get into it. Enough about breakfast, enough about Johnny and me being nice. Chase, what you been playing?
Yeah, I can run through a few things. So being away from the internet this long Labor Day weekend meant I didn't bring my PS5 with me. I wasn't playing any of those kinds of games. I had my Switch.
Okay.
I had my laptop for some devious gaming. I had 3DS that I planned on playing and then didn't end up doing anything with.
Okay.
I had my phone, and so I had a few different options. I mean, I had internet with the phone, but I wasn't tethering or anything, and I wasn't doing anything with the internet really.
Sure.
Anyway, so I played a lot of Boyfriend Dungeon, which is a game I was relatively far into after Bobby talked about it. Bobby, I believe you finished it, right?
I did finish it.
And I have now finished it as well.
Nice.
I played it a little bit differently than Bobby. Bobby, I think you had you were relatively going steady with a weapon or two, correct?
Yep. Played it pretty down the line there with one, and I did not know that that's not what I should have been doing. I shouldn't say it that way.
Yeah, I think it's a fine way to play it. But the game does allow, I would even say the game encourages you to just play around with everybody. Like, you can tell people you just want to be friends. You can tell people you want more. It really doesn't matter. The game kind of doesn't care. It makes it much less like a dating sim to me. It just has those trappings to it, which is fun, and that's fine. But you're definitely not. Oh, I need to pick the boy, or in some cases the girl I want to be with, or in some cases the animal I want to be with. Game gets a little weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let them out.
But you kind of just keep playing it, and it's more your own headcanon of like who you're with. It does make you choose one weapon that you take to the final battle, but they don't even really call it out as like, oh, that's the one you chose. So it's fine. I ended up playing with everybody.
Yeah.
I actually really liked all of the weapons and all the different ways they played.
Did you have a favorite weapon? Sorry, not character that you're dating, but like the actual weapon itself.
Yeah. I mean, there were lots. I really liked Sunder and doing the bleed damage. It's as a fan of Hades and a fan of going the Ares routes with Hades, I like doing, having those circular blades that go out and cause a lot of bleed or extra damage that way. I really liked the glaive. Again, like Hades, you could just throw that, and if you had good aim, you could just totally destroy people. Right. That's who I took to the final battle, and it was super easy. It was no problem at all, just chucking the glaive back and forth, and having just totally beat it down. Yeah, I mean there were plenty of weapons that I found fun. I was happy to go back and play with all of them. But I think the glaive is kind of where I really fell on, like, oh, I like everything that's going on about here. I think if Johnny plays this game, which I would suggest, Johnny, you find time to go play it. I think that could be
I have it downloaded.
Category. Okay, good.
Xbox
I feel like
and
that
PC.
could be a category that we do at the end of the year, similar to Hades when we did Best Weapon.
Oh, yeah.
But maybe we can have a little, maybe a more interesting conversation about that, where we can talk about, the weapon as a weapon and the weapon as a potential mate.
It's a really cool game.
Fun. Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed.
I think a lot of potential new character of the year as well. I think there were a lot of pretty darn well written characters.
Yeah.
And I know that when we've talked about that game before, there was some controversy that there's one character in that game that is not good, and the story's about how that person is not good, and it's. I think the criticism was that it wasn't accurately portrayed in some of the trigger warnings in that game, the content warnings that were happening. I still think it was fine, although I'm not a trauma victim, so I understand that I probably feel differently than somebody who has more of that experience in their life. But it didn't bother me. I had a good time with that game. I think they played it really well. And they give you a lot of options to tell you, hey, this person's a piece of shit. You can tell them that to their face.
Oh, yeah.
And that's nice.
Absolutely.
So, Boyfriend Dungeon, good. On a slightly devious note, I played a Pokemon Red randomizer, which,
You've been teasing doing something like that for a while.
Yeah, I've wanted to play around with this. I'll just, give this a shot. And I played this on my laptop. It worked totally fine. I think the problem, I did a little too much randomization, though. There's a site out there. I don't have the URL in front of me to say it, but there's a site out there that kind of makes a custom randomizer for you for Pokemon Red.
Okay.
And you can click a bunch of different options of what you want, whether you want just the Pokemon to be randomized, whether you want the trainers to have random Pokemon, whether you bring in Pokemon from later generations that all get thrown in there.
How late can you go?
And where that sprite goes through Gen 6, so I think that's X and Y.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and they're
these mods are pretty wild, man.
They do, and people have made like demakes and other things where they've pixelized older or later generation Pokemon, so they work in Pokemon Red and Blue, and it's kind of interesting to see those designs and see how most of them are bad, but it's kind of fun to see, like, oh, this is what a Gibble looks like in Gen 1, and that ended up being one of my starters.
Very cool.
My problem with that is, it played fine. It was Pokemon Red. I didn't mess with any of the items, so all the items and TMs were the same place where they were. I just randomized all of the wild Pokemon. I randomized the starter Pokemon, and I randomized all the trainer Pokemon, and that last one I think is what really fucked me, and I really ended up not liking, because every time I'd go into a battle, I couldn't strategize for anything. I'd be thinking like, oh, I got this water Pokemon really early, this is going to be great for Brock, and I get to Brock, and of course he doesn't use any rock Pokemon because it's all fucking random. He just throws out whatever Pokemon, and I'm like, well, there's nothing I can do here. It's just, did I accidentally pick the right Pokemon for this fight or not? So if I go back, in fact, I did make another custom ROM that turned off that
Okay.
So if I do go back and play the Red Randomizer again, I'll play it with those rules instead.
So the bosses
another thing,
the gym trainers or gym champions, or whatever, will have their own traditional Pokemon then? You turn that off? Okay.
Yeah, everybody's going to have their Pokemon. It's just that all the wild Pokemon are randomized now.
Okay.
And I think that's a slightly better way. That also has some problems with it. I was running into like level 5 Arceuses, which is a Pokemon that is like, okay, that's too good. That's more than I wanted. But also it ran into a problem, especially in Gen 1. I think depending on what the Pokemon is, for whatever reason, sometimes you can miss the Pokemon with a ball because it's too good. Like, it's not even too strong. I was getting to the point where I paralyzed something, had it at really low health, and because it was still like a legendary, it was saying, "Oh, you missed with your Pokeball. You can't even catch this." And that was a bummer. Yeah, that really did suck. That being said, I was able to catch some pretty good stuff on this randomizer run. I got a Palkia really early. That was my starter. Like I said, was a Gibble. So I got a Garchomp there at the end, which was pretty cool. I got an Uxie, which is one of the lake spirits, one of the ones that kind of look like Mew, and that was really good. So I had a few legendaries, and then I had some other pretty good ones. I had a Toxicroak, and yeah, so it was kind of. Oh, and actually, my MVP for the whole run was a Probopass I caught, and he had a great sprite, just that big fucking rock head with his dumbass mustache.
Yeah,
he was very good. And this randomizer, I think, knowing that hey, you have all random Pokemon, you could really screw yourselves if you don't have the right Pokemon that can take an HM. All the HMs work on all the Pokemon. So
that's good.
I had a Probopass with Fly, which was really dumb. Yeah. Like, yeah, fuck it. He's got Fly now. Who cares?
Great. Oh my god.
So I kind of had fun with that. I did, having a couple legendary Pokemon on the team, I really just ran through everything. I didn't lose a single fight. I went through the Elite Four, no problem.
So you beat it. You beat the game.
Oh yeah. It went incredibly quickly. And also, I know Pokemon Red. I know where everything is. I know where to go.
Sure.
I know how that game works. And it was just, instead of I have a Charmander, now I have this Gibble who knows dig and kicks ass and just was a total monster the whole way.
That's awesome.
So that was kind of fun. But I think if I played it again, I would play it with slightly different rules. But still, a neat experience, a different way of playing Pokemon. Sure. And then lastly, it's a game I just played today when I got back home, and that is World Flipper, which you guys might have heard other people on other podcasts talking about. This is a mobile game. It's a free-to-play game. It's a gacha game, and it's a pinball game. It's like a pinball RPG, and it's really interesting. It's so you are tapping the screen to hit the flippers at the bottom of the screen, and the ball is actually your party, and you get 3 people in your party, and then they each can have like sub people under them, so you kind of have 6 people at any one time. And those people in your party have different special attacks that you can trigger by swiping either left, right, or up at different times, and those trigger their special attacks, which do different things on the screen. So one of mine that I got kind of makes a black hole wherever she is as I've hit her as the ball. Once I swipe, she'll throw down a black hole in that spot, and it'll do a bunch of area of effect damage to a bunch of people.
Okay, so this is it's got some BCE on it.
Yeah, it's very anime for sure. It absolutely knows what it is. And then there's another guy who's a robot that I got. He's pretty cool.
Nice.
He just shoots out like this big beam, and if you target it right, you can hit a bunch of things with the beam at one time. It's cool. It's got a really cool idea. It is definitely a gacha game. You are getting they're not orbs exactly. I forgot what they're called, but they're basically like here is your free currency that you gain a little bit at a time, and you can do your pulls. And they give you a 10 spot of pulls right away. And I got some cool ones. I got that robot. He's a 4-star. That black hole mage that I was talking about, I think her name's Clarice. She was a 5-star. And it's like, okay, I'm getting some cool guys here and they can do some cool stuff. I think I would stick with that game because it is really, really fun, except that the loading is terrible.
And you've got a newer phone too.
Yeah, and it's all just downloading stuff from the internet. Like it makes you download like a 2 gig patch as soon as you get it. Which, I'm used to playing something like Fire Emblem Heroes, which also downloads a ton of things at once. But that game, a bunch of stuff like on the phone, it checks back in with the server every once in a while. But that check-in is usually really fast, and these check-ins are not. It is a lot of waiting at loading screens for everything to happen. You load into a chapter, and it's a chapter where it's not even a battle. It's just a chapter where there's text. It's just going to be a story thing, and it has to load for, upwards of 20 seconds. And then you get in there and you just read the story stuff, or you skip it like I do because you don't care about the story. And then you skip out of it and it's loading again for, up to 20 seconds. And then you can get into the next thing and it's loading again. And then you fight the battle, loading again. And just the loading is really, really bad. And also the servers are really unreliable too. I've had the game error out on me and crash back to the title screen multiple times. And also when I've gotten to that point, there's been a couple times where I'll try to tap back in and it goes, nope, sorry, we're erroring out just all the time. Just wait at this point. And I've had to, put the game down for 15 minutes or so and then come back and it's, everything's fine. Let's play again. And then it'll crash out some more.
Did you?
Which is really weird because this game is not new. This game is new to us, but this game has been out in China and Japan, I believe, for a number of years.
I saw a YouTube video from 2019.
Yeah.
I've been getting...
They're South Korean developer.
Yeah, cacao, I think is how you would say it. It's not spelled like cacao would be, but they've got another game that has been popping up as an ad for me quite a bit, and it's called Guardian Tales. And that looks to be more of like an RPG. But I've like clicked through the ad because I thought it looked kind of neat on what they were doing there. So I'll download it and check it out too. I mean,
it's cool. I want to play it more. I just feel like the game is fighting me to be able to play it. Like I feel like this would make a great Switch game. Like if you could turn the Switch on its side, like use the flip grip or something if you go out and buy one of those things. And if you just had it like that and it didn't have to load every 5 seconds as it checked a server, like if you just had this as a local game that you could play, I think it'd be super cool. But as a game that has to keep checking into a server and has its gacha elements, I haven't paid any money for it yet, and I don't think I will at this point for just the way the performance is going. But it's a cool concept. I like their characters. I like their anime style design of what they're doing. It just doesn't play. It's like once you're actually in it, it plays fine. Like when you're actually in the matches, it's really cool, and I have a great time with it. It's just all that loading and all that erroring out, and that's
makes it out of for you.
Yep.
Well, so Chase, you talked about Boyfriend Dungeon and beating that. You got a round of finally randomizing Pokemon Red. And you talked about World Flipper, which is that mobile gacha game that we should all check out. Anything else?
I think that's it.
Yeah. Well, Chase, I too have been got again.
Yes.
They gotcha.
I went back to Genshin Impact. And
why was that, Bobby? Because you just like the anime characters so much?
Because I like the anime characters so much.
One specific non-anime character that you like so much.
Yes. Well, I should say I've kept a pretty distant eye on this game since it came out, but Aloy from Horizon Zero Dawn is now a playable character for the PlayStation version of this game, and she will later be coming to the mobile and PC version as well. I don't need to rehash what Genshin Impact is. I'm going to say the game's still really good. They've added quite a bit to it, and I still feel like that it's such a weird thing that this is a guy. I mean, the gacha mechanics are definitely there, It's a very, very good game for being
It is a full-featured game. If you ignored all the gacha elements, I think you'd have a really good time, and it's just a pretty solid RPG.
Yeah.
The problem is that the gacha elements are there, and every once in a while they're like, hey, look at this cool character that you'll never get unless you spend some money. Ah, shit.
So
I want that cool character.
Not that like anybody, not that we're going to solve anybody's problems with this, but I do need to just take a quick minute to talk about a frustration that can be avoided if you're looking to do some stuff. So Aloy's currently on the PlayStation, which makes the most sense. I had started this game when Genshin came out on my iPhone and my iPad, and then later I played on my PC. Well, at the time, because of the way that the PlayStation Network was set up, you could not merge with your PlayStation account because I was going to play it there also. Right. They've since corrected that. So now that's not a thing. If you have an existing PlayStation account, it's tied to your PlayStation ID. And that's just how it should have worked. You can go in now and link to a non-existing email address. So if you've never played it on mobile or PC and you've only played it on PlayStation, you're in great shape. You can set up an account.
Perfect. I'm in great shape.
Yeah. So you can now tie it to an account that you can then use on your phone and play this on your phone if you want to, or your iPad. I had at least played it on PlayStation because I did not know that at the time that you couldn't do this. If you're brand new to it, if you're coming to PlayStation, you've been playing on PC or mobile, there's going to be an alert that just looks like a disclaimer that pops up. It's very, very, very vague. There's a blog on the developer's website now for this. If you click through that, rather than like you would press X on the PlayStation controller, if you don't press triangle, you don't get the option to tie it to your existing account.
Oh no.
Yeah. And if you've already played this on PlayStation, you're fucked. Like there's nothing you do. But I found buried on Reddit, there's a petition form that you have to put a very specific subject line in an email to get an automated response back from the developer. You fill out this document and then they essentially unlock your account from PlayStation. So then so that's what I've done. So now hopefully I can go back in at some point in time, log in correctly on PlayStation and just merge my account. So if you are one of the weirdos out there that listens to our show that actually plays Genshin and you have these dominoes stacked up, be very cautious. So Chase, you're fine. But if you are somebody going to PlayStation for the first time, because you want to check out this new character, which is not, I think it's October is when she'll be on everything else. So it's not the end of the world.
It's not too long of a wait.
But I'm excited to see what she does. I think you get her bow in the game also. And
so did you actually play Genshin or did you just futz with Genshin?
No, because I think there's some prerequisite stuff that you have to have for getting her on the game. Okay. And I couldn't remember how far I got in that game. And at the time, because there's an adventure level and there's a world level on Genshin, and I got my adventure level was at an 18, which is pretty high for that game.
Maybe. I don't know.
But 20, I think, is where you have to be to get her, like, right now before she's widely available for everything else. So I was putting some time in on it.
Is she free, or is she like, hey, you just do this stuff and you can unlock her? Or
if you have that stuff done, you'll get her. You basically do that, and then you sign back in, and you'll have her there in your party.
That's a shame. I really wanted to hear about Bobby spending hundreds of dollars.
$15.
No, I'm not doing that. I did have, because I hadn't played so long.
Spend it on these polls.
Well, because I haven't played for a long time. Yeah, they've just been like, "Oh my god, we love you so much. Please take everything you can here, and we'll just." And they give you all.
Really? Because I feel like I went back less than a month ago. Maybe it was a little more than a month ago, and I don't feel like they're like, "Oh, you're still here? You came back?"
Oh,
okay.
I got it. It is like, I logged back in for the first time a couple weeks ago.
Damn.
Since it launched, and it was the same.
Check back in then.
Yeah, I got all sorts of goodies.
Yeah, and I was able to get like 2 pulls and even a weapon pack, and they got a new thing too, where it's almost like I don't know if it'll work this way, but it seems like you pick a path for this reward that you would get that looks like it's something you buy it's a weapon pack, and so you could get that. So I got that. That game's really good, man. Like I honestly, like, Aloy aside, like. Especially, I can use a controller now. That was the other thing too. On mobile, I couldn't use a controller before, but now I can use my controller with it. and I think that I'll put some time with that game. It's just a solid ass game. All right.
I'd be willing to jump back in there with you. I only really want Ganyu. Like that's my Genshin waifu, I suppose.
Okay.
So I need to wait for her banner to show back up and try for her. Because that's all I want to play with.
Well, you know what? I don't think I've ever done co-op there either, so that might be something to check out. Now that we can.
Did we not? I feel like you came over and played co-op with me at one point.
No, because I didn't have my PlayStation account. Remember?
Maybe somebody did. I played that with somebody anyway.
So I got 3 other games to talk about. I'm not going to talk long about them. These are going to be some pretty hot takes. I've got about an hour to 2 hours in each one of these games. And the first one up I want to talk about is Pathfinder: Wrath of the Righteous. And Johnny, this is a you game for sure, man. This is a CRPG, and it's got some fucking polish to it, man. Like hearing you talk about Divinity, like you will lose yourself into it. I played this game for about 2 hours. An hour of it was the character creation.
Oh no.
It's really slick. It's got an awesome mechanic when it comes to combat. So as soon as you initiate a battle, it pauses the screen, but you can also toggle this and go to straight up turn-based combat in this game if you want to do that. So there's there's 2 options to go through it. But they give you like 5 options for predefined characters, but then they say you can create your own. And holy shit, dude, there's so many races. There's not only is there like a race that you can choose, but there's an orthodox like religion that you can follow that like would even go into like weapon choice and stuff like that. It's very, very dense. And I rushed through that portion because I was like, I'm really overwhelmed right now looking at all this. But it's got a really slick character creator to a lot of different races that you can bring into it. And I've since gone and found a guide that I think I'll use for a build on this game. But it looks really, really good visually and graphically.
I dig the art style a whole lot.
Yep. It's really fucking slick, man. And I know you don't need a game like this in your life, but I mean, it's a big fucking game, but I think that you will love the writing. It's got really good dialogue options, and I can't say enough from a first impression standpoint. It really left quite the mark there. It's
Triceratops.
Yeah.
I'm watching the trailer as you're talking about this. It looks really cool.
Yeah, it's neat. So I think I'm gonna play
it to my wish list.
It's $40 right now, and it is a follow-up, I believe, to another like the first Pathfinder game, which
I know it's an existing series, and it's also a tabletop.
It is.
Series.
It's based on
the Pathfinder that's based on D&D 4 or whatever.
I think so, because isn't that like?
Yeah.
I am not the person to be talking to about like this, but isn't this somewhere in like the Pillars of Eternity realm also?
I don't know about that, but I mean, games like this are very much cut from the same cloth.
Yeah.
In terms of pulling their rule sets from D&D, or in this case, being a video game based on a tabletop game, which D&D is a tabletop game.
It does also do dice roll stuff. It doesn't show the dice, of course, but there is probability of like, can you get past this situation? Skill check is a 12. You rolled a 16, so you're good to go. But the combat looks really, really promising, and the way the party mechanics have worked so far, I think that I'm either going to bounce off of this because I can't commit to it, or I'm going to fully commit to it and become pretty invested in it. But Pathfinder, shit, I haven't updated on here. Pathfinder: Wrath of the Righteous is the game that we were just talking about. And
Pathfinder is based on the revised 3rd edition
of Dungeons and Dragons. Okay,
there you go.
It's good.
I played a Pathfinder campaign. It was fun.
Yeah, this game is neat. I think it could be something I stream for sure. If I had a solo night, I think this would be a fun game to see how it kind of unfolds. But yeah, definitely something to check out. And the next game I'm going to talk about, let me update the note here, is Insurmountable. And this is a really slick game. Have you heard of this?
No.
Okay.
First I've heard of it.
So this is a run-based game.
Rock climbing game?
Yes. Survival run-based game where you are climbing to a peak. And it's you against the elements. There's some, I don't want to say there's like paranormal stuff, but there's definitely some like oddities and like artifacts type stuff that you'll come across. I have a run. I'm currently in a run, and there are 4 things that you're managing on this: your sanity, your warmth, your oxygen, your energy, and your health. So there's 5 things. I'm sorry, that you're keeping an eye on. And there's no combat in this. It really plays like you talked about a tabletop game. This really feels like a board game to me. And
it's got like everything's hex shaped. It looks like,
yep,
which is interesting.
So you're moving across these varying heights of hexes, which depending on what gear you have. So you do find loot in the game, and you can equip gear that is going to help you climb things better. Like you could also, hey, you're going to gain more XP at night because of what you just found, or you've got gloves that help you on this terrain. You'll find things like oxygen tanks. You'll find things like canned food. There'll be provisions. But it gives you some really interesting things that can happen. So I came across one where it's like you hear this blood-curdling scream. You see that there's another hunter that is fighting a cougar. Hey, he's distracted. Do you want to help him? Or do you want to take his bag and run? And I did not want to waste the energy that would be consumed to help him. But if I took his bag, I might have got some stuff. But it did impact my sanity to do that. So there's some trade-offs there that you can do. And there's 3 different classes. There's adventurer, there's scientist, and then there's a journalist, I believe. And each one of them has some specific things to their class that you already have, and things that they start with. This would be a pretty cool casual Monday game to run through some of these choices. It's got some really interesting concepts on it. I think the only complaint that I have so far on this one is I don't like how you pan around and move. So like I'm used to a game that's more isometric, using on keyboard like Q and E to move the camera around. Here, you have to click in and hold on your mouse wheel and then move your mouse. But for me, in my big meaty paws, I end up zooming in when I'm doing this also. And this gets all fucked up with the camera. That's the only thing I would really complain about. So I just got to the peak. I thought that would be like the first run because there's 3 mountains that you can choose from, and then they have varying paths that are all locked. So I'm on the first mountain, got to the peak. It's like, okay, well, you need to get back down. So now I have to go. And I was like kind of throwing everything into it to get to the peak, thinking like, hey, I can just fucking get it. I can see it. I'm almost there. And now I'm at the peak. I'm like, fuck, I don't have a lot of resources to get back down this mountain. So I got to figure out how to get down the mountain. It's a really cool concept from a roguelike or a run-based game. It does some really cool stuff with the decision quality. It's neat. It's a neat game for sure.
So you're obviously playing this on PC since you're mentioning mouse and keyboard stuff.
Yeah.
Is this only PC? Is this coming to anything else? Do you know anything about that?
It is. I was on Switch.
Oh, all right. Well, there you go.
There it is. I think it should be fine on there. It's got some nice looking graphics. It's not like, anything crazy. It's not anything super broken down either. So I think that it should be fine on there. It's neat. It's neat. I'd like to do a quick look of it, check it out, and I think down the line, because we've had too many breaks from XCOM Mondays, but down the line, if we need to throw something else in there, this is a good one for sure.
Yeah, it looks neat.
Last one here is very early access. It's called Dream Cycle. Raw Fury is publishing this game. This is from this was, I think, what kicked off one of the opening night lives for Gamescom. Was that what that was? Yeah. This is the original developer for Tomb Raider, and this is an open world exploration. It's a bit, I don't want to say it's run. It's not a rogue. I guess it's got roguelike elements in it, and it's kind of it's going to end up being a hub that you'll be in, and you'll work out into these worlds and come back to your hub. So it is designed for you to go out and do these things in these open worlds. It's rough right now. Like, it just hit 1.0. It just came to early access. like as you finish the level that's there, they ask you to fill out a survey, and they're like, what things did you like? I mean, like, they're really trying to get feedback to build this thing out. I think it's got
definitely does not look like a game that I would name Dream Cycle.
I think that it has to do because it's taken from some of the Lovecraft short stories. And when you get into it, there's some pretty surreal elements that happen.
Yeah. It looks a little fucked up in some of the trailers.
Yeah, it's got some fucked up moments in it for sure. And when I first started playing, I'm like, okay, are you getting into something that you're not ready for? Because I don't like jump scares in games. I don't like horror games. And it's really not that. I would say no more so than what Control is. So it's got more of like a psychological element to it. But it's weird because it's like present day, but you're also more of like a mystic in this game. And so you do have a sword and you do cast spells. The closest thing I could compare it to from a gameplay mechanic is Dishonored. And you can play this in first person or you can play this in third person. I don't think I like it in first person. So I played this, I tried playing it first person with mouse and keyboard. I ended up playing this third person with a controller, and that felt best. But it's got an interesting mechanic to it. And when you dodge, you slow things down, and you can hit your enemy. But as you're, sneaking around, it has a teleportation move that you would have in Dishonored. Your cursor becomes more of a crosshair, and every enemy has a weak point. And so as you're sneaking around, if you can line that cursor up on the weak point, you'll teleport to them and it's an instant kill. But if you're engaged in a combat with somebody, you can still do that. And it sounds like, well, how the fuck are you going to line this up? Well, if you dodge, you slow down time. If you kick them, they start floating in air. And so you can do some really cool shit when it comes to the combat. And I unlocked one range, so you can, the face buttons get triggered for close spells and then range spells. And the close one would be like me jumping around. But then I unlocked this lightning attack. And so there's some really cool stuff that you can mix with melee and range combat. The world seems interesting, but very broken right now. It's a cell shade design. And that threw me off because when everything that's up close looks very much like it's not cell shaded, but everything that's in the distance and draw distance, it's all cell shaded. So it's really this weird,
interesting blend of
yeah. And I don't know
style.
I don't know if that's how it is going to be long term, or if that's just what they were using right now. While
this is like very early days for this game.
It
right?
literally just hit 1.0 early access, and so it's like I'm reading some stuff. It's got mostly positive reviews right now on Steam, but some people are like, "This game's full of bugs." I'm like, "Dude, it's day one early access. What the fuck are you thinking?"
Early access.
So
is like 15 different places on the store page.
I think that's probably just our version of early access has been warped over time. You have a lot of games that are like basically done that get thrown out there. You get something like Hades that gets thrown out there, which, I think mechanically was pretty well solid when it came to an early access. It was just more like, what else can we add? Or even something like Monster Train, which I feel was pretty similar. But then you get the other ones that are like, no. Like, this is actual early access. We're actually still building this game.
But we want to bring you along with it.
Exactly.
Yeah, so what I'm probably going to do on Dream Cycle, I think it has a ton of promise. I think it could be a world that I like to spend a lot of time in. I'm probably going to ease off of this one until they put some more stuff and build it up a little bit more, but I'd like to check in on it. And I'd like to provide feedback. I think that's really important. Like, it's just not about my satisfaction in the game right now. Like, this is somebody trying to make good decisions in a game that I can give feedback on, and I like that a whole lot, and so I'm going to continue to do that. And those are the games I've been playing quite a bit. I've been busy. So I think Pathfinder, very, very cool game, a lot of potential there. Dream Cycle, early access, $25 to get into it right now. So it's still a little. I think that's a little steep for what you're getting. So I would wait till more's added to get your value there, and then Insurmountable. Out on Switch on PC, that's a really cool game. I want to say I paid like $19 for that game, if I'm not mistaken.
It was like $20.
Yeah,
I was looking online.
It's a really neat time. Like, I've not played anything conceptually like that from a mountain climbing and environmental decision making.
And that is always cool.
Yeah,
when you find a game that is truly unlike anything you've played before.
Yep, the mechanics you're familiar with, but what you're up against, and like climbing this mountain. Very, very different. So
yeah,
some cool stuff to check out. Johnny,
very cool.
What have you been up to?
Well, Bobby, speaking of falling in love with worlds in video games, I think I mentioned last time I was on the show, I picked up Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut, and
you did.
I started playing that game again last month to get through the campaign because I had like 3 hours left from where I had stopped playing last year. Not because I wasn't enjoying it. It's just that's what I do. I just stopped playing games.
I stopped because I wasn't enjoying
it. Fair. However, I really love that game. I love the world. I love being in it. I like the combat. And this expansion is definitely more of that. And I completed it. I got through that whole other.
Johnny beat a game, everybody.
I finished this. Bobby, I told you this the other day. I finished this game in 12 minutes in the last 2 weeks.
And only one of those you regret.
That's we don't have time to get into it. But this is, as I said, it's more Ghost of Tsushima.
You can have back.
Yeah, they do add some new enemy types.
Sorry, do I have to watch like a let's play of 12 minutes? Like, I don't think I'm going to get around to playing that game, but should I just watch it and know what happens?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Listen to the Waypoint spoiler that they did. It was really good.
Well, I think I want to watch it and then listen to somebody talk about it. Okay. But yeah. Okay.
That's good.
I don't think I'm going to be able to get to that game.
You shouldn't. Don't waste your time.
December. Well, that's what you keep saying.
Play it for like 2 hours and then stop and then read how it ends and get upset.
I don't know. I think, Johnny, I'm sorry. We're going to commandeer this just for a quick second. I know you're in the middle of a point. Chase is a time loop game, and quite frankly, like, I think for all three of us, a game that none of us have talked about, but like has crept up on my list for things to check out is The Forgotten City. I sent you a link to that game.
Yeah.
That was the one that's in the Roman Empire, but that is the time loop game to play. Mechanically, I don't think that you're missing out on much here. It's a point and click adventure with the time loop. The story is so fucking bad. Like, I've not had this like anticipation for a game and then getting into a game like this is cool to the aversion I felt in some time. Johnny, stage is yours.
I get it. I just can't not know, you know?
Yeah, you absolutely need to know because it will come up at the end of the year.
Yeah. I feel like I got it.
Yeah. But Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut. If you've played that game already and you know you like it, you should buy this because it's more of that. It's a new area to explore. It's a new, shorter campaign to experience. I think it's probably about 8 hours or so.
Johnny, if I was somebody who has never played Ghost of Tsushima before, but is still relatively intrigued by it, what would you say about this Director's Cut plus the DLC?
I mean, you're tricky because you are very tired of open world games like this, and it is very much
true.
It's an old style open world game too.
I will say I was more engaged by this game than I have any number of Assassin's Creed games that I've played in a very long time, but it had the reverse effect on Bobby. I know, but most other people I know who have played this game really, really like it.
It's a 360 era open world it's a 360 era.
Bobby, just stop.
No, hang on.
Just stop.
I'm not gonna stop because you brought it up. It's a 360 era open world mechanics game. It's one of the best looking games I've seen. It plays mechanically very well. The side quest, the mission structure, everything about this game is so fucking overdone and tired. It's literally peak 360 open world structure.
What are other games that are like in that mold that you're thinking of? Like, what is it like? Are you thinking about like Ubisoft, like tower design, where it's like, I get to a tower and a bunch of
you don't have to get to a tower.
It's
that you explore the map. More of it is
just like map regurgitation, where it's just like look at all the dots.
As you explore the map, it is uncovered to you when you clear certain camps. Yeah, a big chunk of the surrounding area is revealed, but you also, as you travel, the map reveals itself as you discover new locations. I think what Bobby's referring to is the various items that you can collect, like the fox dens, and then the hot springs, the bamboo strikes, like the things that you go to around the world and do to increase certain stats or get charms, things like that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, those are all just kind of there. Like, you don't have to go on a collectathon. You will encounter enough of them naturally along the way.
Yeah, but I'm also me, so like I wouldn't do that.
Like I never. You also you unlock a thing so that you can just set those as your targets. The guy with the guiding winds, like, hey, I need more resolve.
Isn't there even armor that's specifically like this armor is the armor set to find more of that shit?
It gives you more distance gain when you travel.
Yeah, the traveler's attire uncovers more of the map as you're traveling, and then
I'm not saying it's a bad game. I'm not trying to say it's a bad game. I'm just trying to say that
it's not Red Dead Redemption 2.
No, that's a bad game. This is just a game that it felt very repetitive. It felt like a situation where, hey, you went to this part of the map. Here's the 5 things that you would expect here. You went to you go to this part of the map. Here's the exact same 5 things here. And I did not find the characters interesting at all. And that was the thing.
I enjoyed a lot of the characters. Right. I did a lot of the side quests because I enjoyed the stories that were being told.
Johnny and I are also weebs, whereas Bobby is not. So I think there's probably...
I love this game. I really, really do. It's one of my favorite PlayStation exclusives. I love just being in the world. I spent more time in that photo mode than any other game that has a good photo mode in it. And
this is Sucker Punch, right?
Yeah.
Yep. I really like the combat. And I do love all the different outfits. I love dressing Jen up and putting different masks and headbands and helmets and clothes on him. I did
like that Shadow of the Colossus outfit that you texted me.
So yeah, it's a known quantity at this point. It's been out long enough, but Chase, honestly, I couldn't say whether or not I think you would like this game.
I feel like this is one that if it goes on like a deep sale and gets 50% off on some PSN store thing, I'll grab it then. If it's like a Golden Week thing, maybe I can grab that or something.
And then aside from that, I haven't played a ton of games just because last week I had to have this kind of emergency dental surgery, which is why I was gone. I had a infected root canal. Yeah. So I was dealing with that. But the other thing that I put a significant amount of time into, a game that I'm really enjoying, and by the time I'm finished, I think I've told Chase and you, Bobby, like, I could see this being like top of or at the top of my game of the year list, and that's Psychonauts 2.
I think you're further than both of us at this point.
I'm in the third area, where I've completed the second main mission.
Is that okay? I think I just did that too.
Yeah.
And
go ahead.
I did not talk about this game on mine because I knew that I'm gonna let you say it, but I did not send a message to any of you today. I sent it to somebody else. I will say what I said there, and I'll try and keep as vague as I can for Chase. I encountered what I considered to be one of the best video level designs I've ever encountered in a video game, ever. Period.
And you haven't played the first one, right?
I have not played the first Psychonauts.
No, neither have I.
Ooh. Ooh. Oh boy.
And what I will say is that the level I encountered on this game is one of the absolute best design levels I have ever played through.
And from what I've heard, Bobby, they only get better from there.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Is it?
I'm gonna text you. Keep going.
Okay.
Oh, Chase has. Yeah. Okay. It's the casino.
Casino.
Oh my fucking god!
It's fucking rad, right?
Oh my god!
It's so good.
it's one of the.
It's so good.
It's so good. Okay.
It's so good.
Come on, Chase.
Okay.
Okay, I've got a question that I want to ask, but I think for my own safety, I can't ask it.
Okay.
Damn it. Okay.
Chase, you need to play this game, man.
I agree with what Johnny. I will say this. I agree with you. This game is quickly climbing up a ladder to be a very strong game of the year contender.
From the level design to the writing, it's so endearing and earnest in a very sincere way. It doesn't feel like it's trying to be that way. It just is.
It's effortless.
Yeah, and I have cursed myself for a long time for never playing the original Psychonauts, because
I've also cursed you.
I used to see commercials for it when it was new. I was like, that game looks fucking cool, and then it was one of those things that I never ended up playing.
Yeah.
But this one, it feels so special, and I know that it's a 3D. Like you talked about in the podcast last week, it is a character action, like not action game, but it has platforming, and the mechanics of it are sound. It's not reinventing the wheel for 3D platforming and things like that, but the inventiveness and the creativity that's involved in the levels that you're in is just it's unparalleled.
Do you think
it's really awesome?
Do either one of you think that with Microsoft money now being on the table, with the fanfare around that first game, and with the critical reception of the sequel after this long, I would be shocked if there wasn't a remaster that they would put out for that first one?
Sure. I mean, Double Fine, I assume, has carte blanche to just do whatever they want after this.
I know that first game did not sell as well as people think. Like it was a cult classic.
Yeah.
And I think it has gotten a longer tail over time because people have come back to that game and realized it's good, and
still carrying that torch for it. For sure.
It's gotten some updates on PC. I know they changed the ending, or they changed the final level of the original game in the PC version, I think, and maybe even in some of the re-releases that they've done on like Xbox. Anytime they've put it on like a digital thing, because it was bad. It just was mechanically not super great. I mean, it's still playable. I got through that game on the original Xbox and it was fine, but I can understand people's problems with it. So they have done some work to that in the past before.
Yeah.
I wonder, like, this game has been getting really positive reviews from basically everybody but me so far. Which, damn, that's such a bummer. It's, I want to reiterate. I mean, I'm wearing my damn shirt for back in the game. I love Double Fine. I've always loved Double Fine. I've loved pretty much all of their games. And I think there's a lot to like here. Again, I've only played like the first hour and a half or so. And I think my only real problem is how much like Psychonauts 1 it is. And maybe that's just not a problem for you guys because you didn't play that game. But it does have a lot of old design that I feel like is holding it back when you're going through and you're having to search for the bag tag so you can get the emotional baggage and
there's definitely some old school stuff in there, but
and the figments of the imagination where they're just thin things that are flying around the levels and you feel like you have to get all of them. It's just kind of a collectathon kind of thing that
I disregarded that feeling, and I've been doing just fine.
But I feel like that game is going to force you to come back to levels like the old one did, where it's like, hey, you need to come back with this new psi power that you have, so you can now get up and find that other piece of the challenge card, or that one last figment that's too high for you, or a bag tag kind of thing. That stuff slows it down, and I think the rest of the game is pretty on point. The writing, again, like you guys mentioned it, I think it's as sharp as it's ever been. The level design is great. I from the little bits that I've seen so far, all that stuff feels great to me. It's just that, holy shit, it really feels like Bobby's over there talking about Ghost of Tsushima feeling like an Xbox 360 game. This feels like an Xbox game because it is. It's just the original Psychonauts with a different coat of paint on it, which is good. Also maybe bad. I don't know. Man, that's my problem.
I was taking so many screenshots today. And I definitely I enjoyed what I had played when I first played. And this is what I said last week when I was talking to Chase about it, is that I've just been playing it at night. I was super tired. I had extra time with the holiday this week. I got to hop into it. And even though I put a couple hours into some new games, like this is really what I put a lot of time into. And I did play it on my PC a lot, which it looks great in 4K, but that iPad screen is really impressive. And my home network, being at home playing through cloud with a 12.9-inch iPad and a DualSense controller.
I tested it on my iPhone.
It works.
It looks great.
It works.
I've been playing it on my
good.
Xbox One. That's actually where I've played it the most, is on my Xbox.
It's great. And I think I am going to try and play it on the go. Like, I'm just because I want to get that one done not as quickly as possible to get through it, but like,
I know what you mean though. It's we got a lot of stuff coming up. This game's like 15 hours, I think. I want to get through it. I bought Tales of Arise today because I'm an idiot.
You are an idiot.
But man, I shouldn't have played that demo. That was dangerous.
Psychonauts 2 is a good video game.
It's a good video game.
Yeah, I'm going to play more of Psychonauts over this weekend. Like I said last week, I've got a real problem where I feel like I need to block off a very large amount of time to play this game, or else I feel like I should just be doing something shorter and sweeter, like a Destiny run, which even ends up being hours long because fucking Destiny. I just took time to it, like I did today. But yeah, I do want to see everything this game has to offer, even if in this initial hour and a half, I'm not loving it.
I think
Chase, just like what you just said seems to be like once you, not that it's bad, but after you get past that initial hurdle, I guess, like that's when people really start to love it. And like I was even the same way a little bit. I was like, okay, this is pretty good. And then I played that second mission and I was like, holy shit, I need more of this. So
that's good to hear. I'll keep giving it a shot. Like it's not like I'm not gonna play it.
I've never wanted you to like a game more.
Well, Johnny.
Yeah.
You talked about Ghost of Tsushima's director's cut and Psychonauts 2. You said you picked up Tales of Arise, so hopefully we'll get an update from you on that here soon. Anything else that you wanted to
he doesn't have to
share?
I played some more Splitgate. That game rules. That's it.
I need to check
That's
that game
message.
out. Okay.
It's Halo with portals.
How are the queue times?
Like non-existent.
Oh, really? Because that used to be a really big...
It was a real big problem whenever I first started it. Okay. But now it's like 10 seconds maybe. Jump right in.
Okay.
That game's really, really cool.
Nice.
So with that, why don't we head to the casual report? Let me get my
the news.
Handy dandy. My webcam went out of focus. There we go. Hey.
Professional journalist.
Johnny,
right here.
Guys, did you follow at all what happened with Horizon Forbidden West in terms of the pricing and everything that transpired, and then quickly untranspired? All the PlayStation stands and on Twitter trying to defend this shitty practice, and only for them to reverse course. Less than 24 hours later.
They showed off all the different like bundles, right, for the physical and digital game.
They showed you like, hey, this is the standard edition. This is the special edition. This is the super duper collector's edition. This is the ultra mega edition. There's 2 different versions of this game that come with a statue of the Tusk, the Thunder Tusk, or whatever it's called.
Which one are you getting?
The last game that I paid for that came with swag like that was Batman Arkham Knight. And it was
Batman Arkham Knight is not one of your top 5 games of all time.
I know, but I told myself
never again.
I just cannot let myself.
Look behind you though. You have all those shelves and wall space to
I know.
That's different.
Play.
I know.
Those were purchased separately.
I know. The only thing that I've done recently is I got the helmet for Mass Effect. And that didn't even come with the game.
It's just a helmet.
It's just a helmet. But
you didn't even get a game with it.
I just feel like when I shifted away primarily from, because I don't want the physical game, Like, I don't want that. I don't have a PlayStation that has a disc drive.
Well, the one with the statues comes with a digital copy of the game.
I know. But what I'm saying is that I made amends not to do this. Like, I was not going to buy video games with
statues. When have you ever cared about that? Remember when your New Year's resolution was to not pre-order games and dumb. Not 3 months later?
But this has been going on. Like, I've been doing this. I didn't even do it last generation. I didn't. Like, maybe I got a steel case book that came with like if it came with like in-game swag and a steel case, yeah, I grabbed that. But
right,
I just don't. I can't allow myself to be the person that would buy
for one of your top 5 games of all time.
You know what I would rather do? I would much rather put that money towards some like prints, because I got a few here. Like, I'd rather use that extra money to get like an
nice art.
Yeah, like
sure.
Because I would like that more than I'd like a statue from a game or something like that. Like, I'm gonna get whatever the highest digital version is that doesn't come with physical swag. I will get that.
Yeah, probably the same. So this is such a muddled
It's so
mess.
Sony is what it is.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, maybe you should start by telling us how this would work on an Xbox.
Oh, you'd buy the game and you just have it on the Xbox One and the Xbox Series S and X.
You mean some sort of like smart
delivery?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
So you'd also have it on your phone. It would be on your phone too, and it'd be on your computer.
So they originally said that this would not have PS4 to PS5 upgrade. Dual entitlement was not included in the standard version of the game, which would cost $60 on PS4. And I don't know if you noticed, but these new consoles, we are lucky enough to have them, but they are still very hard to come by. Yeah. So there are very likely people who would buy this on PS4, and then down the line, once they get a PS5, would love to play it there. And there's going to be a PS5 version of this game. So they were saying, if you buy the standard edition, sorry, you have to buy the PS5 version full price for $70. Which apparently reneged on a promise that Sony had made to not do this exact thing.
And really quick, like, trust me, I don't mind throwing some dirt in Sony's eye, but there was a very short period on PlayStation 4 where they did this, like, hey, here's some games that you can upgrade for $10 or whatever it was, and they stopped doing that pretty soon. Now, your point, I think, trumps what I'm saying with people can't get this hardware, and we'll talk more about that. Yep. But I think that ultimately this window that they've had so far for like, hey, you can upgrade for $10 or whatever it would be, they started to get some criticism for the pricing structure for Ghost on this whole director's cut debacle. Like, that brought a lot of people looking at it and be like, what the fuck are you doing? And then Horizon,
$30 for me to get
which
the upgrade, which it came with new content, so I didn't feel too terrible about that because I got a whole expansion.
Final Fantasy, though, there was a weird thing with that. Like, they gave that game away for free right before they announced all the DLC. Like, oh, if you you can't use this version. Like, some weird shit this year with that stuff. And so Horizon,
it's stupid. So the only way to get a free cross-platform upgrade was if you bought the $80 version, which is that's also £80 in England, €80, which their currency is worth more than ours. So, that was really gouging people a little bit. Like, if you don't want the special edition, then you shouldn't have to buy it to get it. Anyway.
But for our purposes, I don't think $10 more sounds that bad for something that, because like you paid $30 for the upgraded version of Ghost of Tsushima, which does come with the DLC. But like, what was the Project $10 thing? That wasn't even Sony? That was maybe Xbox before.
Ubisoft did that.
Yeah, Ubisoft.
EA did it.
Yeah, where it's like, okay, hey, it's like, give us $10 and we'll give you.
And that was only within like the first year that those consoles came out.
Yeah,
feeling
that's something that makes sense to me. It's like, okay, you put in the work to make a better version. I should owe you something. $10 sounds fair, but that's not what they're doing. I mean, it is technically what they're doing if they say you buy the slightly more expensive version on PS4, and then you get it. I don't know. It's all a mess.
So a lot of people got mad,
as people are wont to do,
as they are, and a lot of PlayStation fanboys were defending it, as they are wont to do. Never swear allegiance to a corporation. Just don't do it. Just seems like good things to live by. Anyway,
don't even swear your allegiance to us. We'll let you down.
Yeah. Exactly.
John
then
the
backpedal. So now if you buy Horizon Forbidden West, the PS4 version, you get an upgrade to the PS. It's a free upgrade.
So
going forward, any other PlayStation exclusives, it will be a $10 upgrade.
Oh, okay.
But
like I said,
the whole thing that people have been talking about with this is, if you don't give a shit about the versions and you just want this new Horizon game, and you have a PlayStation 5, save $10 because it's still
PS4 version.
It still costs $70 on the for the PlayStation 5 version, but you can literally buy the PlayStation 4 version for $60 and upgrade it for free to the PlayStation 5 version. So why the fuck would they just not be like, hey, Horizon Forbidden West is a $60 video game, regardless of what hardware you have.
And God of War is the same.
Even if they both cost $70, like it would still be a better. It would still like, hey, wait, I'm getting two games. I'm getting two versions of the game for $70 versus the one version of the game for $70 on the other one.
Right. Yeah. Or just do what Microsoft does. To your point, stop making this so fucking complicated. Either charge your $70, but like we've been talking for a year now, almost, about how difficult it is. Like, what version do I download? How do I get the right patch?
Dude,
it's so fucking messy. It's so messy.
Continually will download the wrong version of a game.
That's insane.
On PS5.
It's absolutely insane.
I had
Destiny was hell. Like,
it's awful.
Destiny, Final Fantasy VII Remake. I had to download the PS4 version of that game to transfer my save to the PS5 version.
I mean, buzzword aside for smart delivery, because that's dumb. It fucking works. It works.
Fucking works. It works. It's on all your shit. Anyway,
the only reason that's caught on is because it works so well. Like, the phrase is there because it's great.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you're on an Xbox Series X. Let's download the Xbox Series X version of this game.
If only
it seems easy. It seems so easy. You shouldn't have to call it anything. It's just the way these things should work. It is pretty dumb that it's not working for the PlayStation.
Yeah.
What further complicates things and makes this even dumber is that we're living in the current age of video games where things 2 weeks out from being launched are already on deep discounts. Yep. So I maybe this would be less so, one, because it's a pretty premier game, two, because
it's also first party exclusive
Sony. But like, we are living in an age where games go on sale all the time. So quibbling about $10 here or there at different points is weird, because just wait 3 weeks and then you have the game like at 20% off or something.
Right.
It's really
it's such a small window for them to charge full price for things. It's nuts.
Yeah.
It's dumb.
Johnny, what else we got going on?
So some happier news. A game that I'm really fond of, No Man's Sky. When it first launched, it was rightly so heavily criticized for how it had been marketed and things that were promised to people. Since then, Hello Games has kind of kept their heads down, and they've just churned out update after update after update, year after year, not charging for any of them. And they were able to turn their Steam reviews around to mostly positive, which is, considering the state that game launched in, it's pretty incredible. I think it's
just happened.
Yeah.
Yep.
I feel like this has been the narrative around No Man's Sky for
they were
a couple of years now.
Very much in debt to bad reviews.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's like 70% mostly positive now. So yeah, we don't need to dwell on that too long. I thought that was a nice story. It's cool that like games like this and Final Fantasy 14, when they launch in not the best ways and piss a lot of people off, can maintain an audience, grow their audience, and turn what was a not great experience into a really cool game.
And that new update looks real good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Frontiers one. It's real neat.
And Anthem's right behind them, right?
Exactly. Yes. That's next week's.
Any day now.
That's next week's feel good story.
The reviews are turning around on Anthem.
Oh God. So a rumor that started with some random leaker, and then Eurogamer and a couple of other outlets came out and said that they can confirm it. But apparently, Game Boy and Game Boy Color games will be heading to the Switch.
We did it!
We did it! A la the
mission accomplished.
The Switch Online service. So it'll probably be another thing you download, like the Super Nintendo and the NES.
And
on
you'll
your
also
Switch.
be at the mercy of like the 2 games Nintendo puts out.
Yes,
I would have to think that this announcement's imminent, based off of isn't September when everything renews for people?
Yeah, that's when they usually do them. It's just like, hey, please keep your service up. Please keep our online service.
Can I ask you a quick question? Quick poll.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because you're the experts here.
Yes.
What is going to be the Game Boy game that gets the 99 treatment to celebrate Game Boy or Game Boy Advance games coming to the Switch platform? Because they're going to do it. So what's going to be the 99 this year that you get to play?
I mean,
Super Mario Land.
I don't think they'd go back to
they already did Super Mario 35.
I think they're getting away from that because like they went to Pac-Man. So like Pac-Man is not a Nintendo franchise. So I think they would probably continue going further away from that.
99 Dig Dug.
I would love Dig Dug 99. That'd be great. And already Tetris 99 has the Game Boy Tetris color pack for it, right? Like the skin. So that's already out.
Yeah, I think this is good. I think the real question is, will any of the Pokemon games be in there?
Ooh.
Yeah, I was thinking about that because how do you make that work? They did re-release the Pokemon games on the 3DS Virtual Console, and those games had the ability to trade with other 3DS.
You could send Pokemon from there to your
and you could send them to the bank.
Yeah. Yep.
So I think you would still be able to do that because Pokemon Home is on the Switch.
Yep.
So if they do that, I think you could do that there. I'm wondering how they'd have to do a little work, I would imagine, to make you to be able to go from Switch to Switch. But Switches can play locally too, so I would imagine there's technology there. They would probably just have to do a little bit of work.
I just mean, do they even include those games in this, or they're like, and you can buy Pokemon Red and Blue on the eShop for $4.99.
But they haven't done that with any other game.
But this is Pokemon.
It is, but it's also this is also a subscription service for them. Like they know they're getting the money for these things.
I think you're getting just Red and Blue, if that. Maybe.
No, I think you're getting. I don't think they'll all come out at the same time.
Right.
But I think you'll start out with Red, Blue, Yellow, and I think you'll get Gold, Silver, Crystal.
Oh, that's fair.
Later in like a later month.
Yeah, they've even haven't there been some games that were originally Japan only that have made their way into?
Sometimes, yeah. Maybe
they do something with Leaf Green. Like, I don't know.
Well, not Leaf Green, just Green. Leaf Green was the
Green.
Game Boy Advance.
Sorry,
but yeah.
Leaf Green.
I don't think they'd go back to old Pokemon games though, like an old Japan only version of Pokemon Green, because that had different sprites in it, that had different glitches and problems with it. I think they'd avoid that.
What if they did it for trading card game?
Well, damn it, Johnny. I was going to ask, what is our what do we want? What's our wish list here? Like barring the obvious ones like Pokemon or Super Mario Land or something like that. And mine was absolutely going to be, yes, Pokemon Card GB2, Here Comes Great Rocket. I'm getting a translated version of that finally. It's fine. I've already played a fan translated version of that game, and it's kind of just more of the same game from the original, but it has some new cards in it.
Yeah.
Still great. I still love it. But yeah, like if they get the Pokemon trading card game in that, I will absolutely play through that game again, because I can't not play through that game again. I love the Pokemon trading card game for Game Boy.
Yep.
Anything that you guys would want on there that might be a little bit out of left field?
I'm trying to think. some of the Wario games. I always like those.
Yeah. I would love the ability to play some of those handheld Zelda games that I've missed out on over the years. I think.
Those will absolutely be there.
Yeah. Link's Awakening.
Would they put Link's Awakening on there? Because
I don't think
we already have a Link's Awakening for
Oracle of Ages will be there, right?
On Switch. The Oracle games, I think, absolutely show up there. Oracle of Seasons and Ages, which I think
those games are good.
I would love to play those. I would love to play those. So I would love to see those make their way in. That's what I would hope for.
I'm still holding out hope that
Minish Cap.
They give the remake versions like they did with Link's Awakening, and they just go, "Hey, we already have these assets.
Here it is.
We could totally just do that with Seasons and Ages." I really hope they do that. In the meantime, those games are still killer and really good in the pixel format too.
Yep.
Johnny,
Warlocked. Get my weird dumbass RTS on a Game Boy Color. Put that on the service. Warlocked rules.
Sure.
Warlock's bad, but
you heard it here, folks.
It's so bad. I love it.
Just a few more things to run through here really quickly. The engineer that was very, very key in the development of Kratos' axe and the Blades of Chaos in the latest God of War game, sadly passed away this week. He was no longer at Santa Monica, but there was a lot of outpouring of love for this person, and it's always obviously sad when someone passes away. That is, it seems like a relatively young man. I don't know how he died.
Does he have a name?
Yeah, it is George Mall. So he worked at Santa Monica.
Mall. Pretty great name for somebody who's working on a bunch of cool weapons.
Yeah, so the reason I wanted to mention this is just I think that is one of the best weapons I've ever used in a video game.
Very good.
And
it's certainly one of the most talked about mechanics that I can remember people like really breaking out. Like I feel like the story of God of War, the PS4 God of War, when that came out, it was all about, hey, this is a one take. Which is stupid on its face because one takes don't matter when you have digital characters. It's a fucking video game.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Also, it doesn't make sense that should all take place over one day. It's the dumbest fucking thing. But then I think the real story of that game came out, which was, look at how cool the Leviathan axe is. Here's how it works. Here's why it feels so good. And there were just story after story after story about why that worked as well as it did. And then the Blades of Chaos came later, and that was more of a secret, so I feel like that kind of got that stayed a secret for a lot of the time. But the Leviathan axe, for sure, the way that got talked about in the timing of how it comes back to you, and the way the rumble works, and the way that you can throw it and it has a bit of an arc to it, like all of those things came out, and it was just one of the most talked about things.
I would just throw the axe just so I could pull it back to me again.
Yeah.
Or throw it and then get as far away as I thought I could, hit triangle, and then hear it. Just
Bobby, you played the Avengers. Did you play as Thor? That
was my main. When I did play, I mean, I say my main, but that's the character I enjoyed the most, and it felt good. Like it was it's very much that, but it would bounce around. Like you could throw is it Mjolnir? Is that how you say that?
Mjolnir,
or whatever.
Close.
That felt pretty good. It had a really good sound. Like the sound design, I think, was better than the actual mechanic of throwing it because it sounded really fucking good when it crushed things. But yeah, it was there for sure.
Yeah. So, R.I.P. George. Thank you for your contribution to video games. All right. So, we've talked about this before, but the date keeps getting further and further back. So Toshiba came out and said that shortages for many things, including consoles, PS5, Xbox Series X and S, probably last at least until 2023, like well into 2023. And that is just indicative of the current state of the world where, I mean, there's cars just sitting waiting for electronic components to be made, to be put into them.
I would say cars more important than video games.
Yeah.
But also,
you sure about that?
No.
Well,
are you sure about that? That's why.
If the pandemic still keeps happening, we shouldn't be leaving our homes as much, so the cars are less necessary. You know, we are in such a weird spot where the supply of things is so bad, and yet also, I think there are people out there who are gouging prices and getting into speculation and making things even worse. When already like things are going to be high just because the supply is low, supply and demand. But the artificial demand that is happening based on the real low supply, it's just sucks. It sucks for everything. It feels like it's happening with literally everything in the world these days, and it's all just becoming rarer and rarer and more expensive and more expensive. I know Johnny and I we're looking at Gundam model kits because we are fucking losers. And like if you're not getting those kits when they come out, you're kind of fucked because then you're going on a resale market and the prices get extremely jacked up. You know, it's been happening with shoes for years and all the sneaker culture stuff. Sports memorabilia, same way. Video games themselves, it's
$2 million for an unopened copy of Mario Brothers.
Yeah, we might talk about that coming up at some point.
I can tell you right now, I've got a new fear, a new anxiety that I did not have before, with my PC here, that I'm so fearful of like a mechanical failure of a part right now.
Sure.
And just like, I mean, I got really lucky on being able to get the parts I got for this. Like when I first built it, we built these computers, Johnny, February of 2020.
Yep.
And like literally like 2 months later, you couldn't get half the parts that we were able. I literally walked into a Micro Center on a whim, got the parts I needed to build my PC. And that's just unheard of right now. So to get the stuff that I got over the past year, I feel very fortunate. And that's even upgrading parts. And I sold my other stuff, what I thought was like fair market. I could have sold my old fucking GPU, which wasn't even an old. It was what, a year at that? Not even.
Yeah.
I could have sold it
2080 Super
for more than I paid for my 3080. And it's just insane to think about. So I have this fear now, which is very specific to me on like my computer stops working. It's going to be a nightmare to get stuff. And there's a report, I think, from Schreier, from Wario, saying, hey, if you didn't get a first batch reservation for the Switch OLED, it's going to be a long time. And like, it's just more the same with that. Like the play dates that we're waiting on, the Steam Deck, like all that stuff I'm looking at, like, man, this is going to be hard for them to do, especially like I think that the play date, that's such a small first time doing it that like, that's got to be a hard thing for them.
Yeah, but at the same time, the components for that, not the same kind of components that you're getting out of a PS5. Like those are chipsets and things. Like I think back to like the original Game Boy, and when Gunpei Yokoi made that, like it was not made to be cutting edge technology. In fact, it very much was not. The Game Gear came out. It's like, oh, look at color screen and sharp graphics and all that. Also, we eat batteries for breakfast because we have to power this new technology. And the whole point of the Game Boy was, what if we used older components, these older LCDs, and we can get more battery life out of it, and we can make them more of a consumer friendly thing. You know, they just that screen looks ugly and can't show off as many cool things as something like a Game Gear can. And I think that's kind of what Playdate's doing. But you know, you still think about plenty of other things that are out there that are just struggling, and even things that don't need electronic components that are still dealing with this crazy supply and demand that's happening. It's
bananas.
It's a bad time. It's a real bad time. And then, you know, plus a global pandemic, plus you know,
Yep.
Everything.
All the hell. Everything.
Ooh, man,
everything's fine. Everything's fine.
Yep.
It's fine. Finally, Sony has acquired the Playroom devs Fire Sprite.
Cool.
So that
Makes sense for
seemed
them.
newsworthy. Anytime one of these big console makers acquires a new studio, that is worth talking about. And it's like with a lot of the ones that Sony acquires, like they already were basically only working for Sony.
Yeah.
So now they are officially part of the PlayStation family, and actually based in Liverpool, which I thought was interesting. Just for me on a personal level, being a Liverpool fan. So yeah, that's
the news.
That is the news.
Well, Johnny, thanks for taking us through that. Let's wrap up here and get some sleep. How about that? How's that sound for a wild and crazy time?
I think I'm gonna go play some Psychonauts.
Okay, yeah, I might do that too. Johnny, thanks for getting the news put together. We talked about a lot of games tonight. Covered some stuff in the news. Some big things happening right now. We're looking into September, which we've got a preview episode up that you can go and listen to see what's coming out. We also got a highlight reel of those games over on our YouTube page. If you want to follow along as we talk through what's happening, there's some really easy ways to do that. And one of those is to go to thecasualhour.com and you can see our latest videos and episodes, or follow us on social to be updated on that. So let's talk about the week ahead and what we've done so far. Chase was out of town, so Johnny and I did a revisit to Tim on Monday night for this past Casual Monday. If you want to tune into those, Casual Mondays is traditionally more of a tactical, strategy-based RPG element, run-based game that Chase and I get together and play. We've had a series that we were like part 6 of XCOM Mondays, which was my first playthrough of Enemy Unknown. And we're going to get back to that this upcoming Monday. So Chase and I will be back in the saddle, trying to keep the Casual Hour alive on XCOM while also keeping all of our community alive with us.
Johnny died, though.
Johnny died. I've died the most, but
yeah.
Johnny died.
True. You died.
This past Tuesday, we put up a quick look for a game called WordWeb. That's currently an Apple exclusive take on Scrabble and crossword puzzles. That's highly addictive. Go check that out. It's really cool. I didn't realize that was the same team that made the game Hidden Folk. So another awesome iOS game. I think that's on Switch now too. Maybe. Anyway.
I think you're right.
That was on Tuesday. You're hanging out with us tonight, or if you're listening to this is a Wednesday night recording, where we do that live here on twitch.tv/casual hour. Tomorrow at 9 a.m., so this Thursday, we're going to be putting up a quick look that Chase is the driver for, and more ways than one. We're going to have a look at Art of Rally that came to the Switch recently, and we've got some thoughts on that game. And this Friday, 2-man stream, me and Chase playing some Destiny, as Destiny dudes do. So a lot of reasons to hang out with us this week. If you're listening to this, thanks for tuning in there. If you want to follow along on our podcast, we're everywhere that you can get a podcast. Fridays at 9 a.m. Central. I think that's going to do it for what we've got going on. Got some fun stuff around the corner. But Chase, why don't you tell all these internet friends of ours who you are and what you do outside of this?
Sure. I've got another podcast. It's called Gamers on the Go. I do it's about handheld video games. I do it with a guest each time. Bobby was in the last episode. We talked about Pokemon X and Y. You can find that at gamersonthego.com. And then I'm also playing through Super Robot Wars X on my YouTube channel. You can find more about that at Chasey K Plays on Twitter. You can just search Chasey K Plays on YouTube and you'll probably find it there. It's also in our chat right there. I'm getting real close to the end of that game. And I'm recording them way early, so there's still plenty of them coming out. They are coming out 3 a week now, so there's a Monday episode, a Wednesday episode. So today, right now, if you're watching this, you can go check that out. And there'll be one on Friday. And I think I've just been kind of tweeting out at the end of the week, hey, here were the 3 episodes that showed up. Nice. So that's pretty good. Also, I want to note, I made a grievous error last week. And I did not include a September game that is an extremely important September game, and that is Toem
Yes.
Which is a game we have done a quick look for the demo that was out during the Steam Games Fest, I believe, and Next Fest, whatever the fuck they called it, doesn't matter. But that game is also coming out in September. You can pre-order it right now on Switch. In fact, I did. So looking forward to getting to play that game pretty soon.
I can't wait. I am so excited for that.
It's got a great look to it.
Yep. So Toem, I think, is the 17th, one that we missed. So yeah, follow along there with Chasey K plays. Some really cool shit happening, and I'm excited for what those turn into in the future for you as well. Johnny.
Yep.
You've got a son that plays video games, or plays a video game.
Not this week. He's been grounded.
Did he call you? Did he slick his hair back? Was he a piece of shit, or did he used to be a piece of shit?
He got caught in a lie today.
Oh no.
And as such, punishment had to be handed down, and he is grounded from video games after just being ungrounded yesterday. So
people can change.
Running a tight ship over here.
What's he do when he's grounded? What is he? What's available to him?
He bothers me and my wife.
So why do you ground him?
You know,
he needs
Bobby.
to learn somehow.
Are you being grounded? Because it sounds like you're being grounded.
It's
Who's grounded?
a little like punishment for the whole family whenever he gets in trouble.
Sounds
I
like
have been reading.
Kids is a great time.
You know, it has its ups and downs. I've been reading Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone to him, the illustrated copy of that, and you know, J.K. Rowling has said some not great things.
What?
No,
I don't believe that.
I love those books. I think those are still very, very special stories to me. And being able to share those with him, and how he like begs me to keep reading whenever it's time to go to bed. He's been enjoying it so much, so that's been really special.
He won't even remember what a video game is when you're done with him.
Exactly. We also just ran through Infinity War and Endgame in the MCU. We watched the bulk of those movies. We did miss a few because he really wanted to get to Thanos and see Infinity War. So we watched those two movies over the last couple weeks.
Who doesn't like to skip ahead to the last chapter of a book, you know? It's always the best way to read it.
Yeah. So that's
so
what
no
we've been
video
up to.
games. Just asshole. Just being an asshole to you?
All the time.
I love it.
He was so mad at me earlier.
What's the worst thing that he's called you? Has he called you a cuss word yet?
No, not me directly. But he was so mad earlier. And then eventually he calmed down, and he was like telling me I was the best dad in the world and stuff again.
Another lie.
I said if you had the Infinity Gauntlet with all the stones, would you snap your finger?
Oh no.
He's like, yeah, I would. And then he walked away.
You're gone. Dusty.
Good for him.
Ice cold, man.
Good for
The kid is
him.
ice cold.
You can't set the kid up like that.
Yeah, I mean,
I knew the answer going into it.
Giving me slow pitches. I always hit a home run. God knows Jude's going to.
Johnny, little word of advice: don't ask that question to either me or Bobby.
Oh,
yeah.
I'll add 10,000 more points.
I heard him downstairs because he kept asking. He's like, "Can I be not grounded?" I was like, "No." And then when it finally sunk in, punishment stands. I heard him downstairs go, "I'm in hell, rotting." Like,
God, not dramatic at all.
He's 8. God help me when he's a teenager. That's it's gonna be so bad.
Well, God won't, because you'll be in hell rotting.
Yeah.
Oh. Anyway, he's a good kid. He's just
sounds
high
like
spirit.
That's going to do it for us here at the Casual Hour. CasualHour.com, twitch.tv/Casual Hour, youtube.com/Casual Hour. That's where you can keep up with us this week. Drop us a line. Let us know what you're up to. What games are you checking out? And what's the worst thing that you've ever called Johnny? Let's all write in.
Not do that.
And that would be a really great thing for me after having to say nice things about him last week. Chase, Johnny, thank you all. Everybody out there watching, thank you.
See ya.